This is my weekly makeup basket. If you are a new subscriber or you've never seen one of these videos before, pretty much all I've done is I've went through my makeup collection, I've picked out some things that I want to wear for this coming week, and it really does save me some time in the mornings, but not only that, I can really focus in on certain products that I'm trying to use up for projects, like a project pan or something. So I'm going to go through and show you these items, kind of how I would apply them to my face. So typically I would start out with face products like a foundation and then go onto my eyes, but since I've been using the Lorac Pro palette, I've had to switch up how I apply my makeup. So I'm going to start off with my eyes. So the first thing that I put down, this is just like a colored base. This is the Maybelline Color Tattoo, and I'm using the shade Cool Crush this week, and that is what it looks like in the pan. It's kind of a duochrome sort of a base. It's got like a pink and purple, but it shifts over to a blue. You can really pick out the blue. That is a swatch of it right there, and it does have some sort of opalescent white in there as well. It's quite sheer, so I do have to put about 2 layers down for it to show up. And then obviously I'm going to be using my Lorac Pro this week. Everything that I'm showing you I have on my face today, so I'm using the shadows out of the Lorac Pro, but I also received this from a sweet subscriber. Her name is Tracy. I'll link her down in the description box below. She was selling Mary Kay products, and so she sent me this little eyeshadow. This is in the shade Periwinkle, I believe, so it's just this little single here. And let me give you a swatch of this because I do have this on the lid too. These are so smooth and buttery, and I used to use Mary Kay when I was in high school a little bit. My sister sold it for a little bit. That is a swatch of Periwinkle right there. And then this isn't going to be used every day, but I decided to throw this in because I want to play around with the Lorac shadows a little bit this week. I'm kind of getting sick of the same look day after day for 2 months. So I'm going to be adding in this e.l.f. glitter primer and the NYX roll-on shimmer, and this is the one in salmon. Let me show you the difference between having this e.l.f. primer down and not having it down. It really does make a difference, because if I just try and use this NYX roll-on shimmer by itself and roll it onto my eyes, it's gorgeous, but it really just falls off onto my cheeks and stuff. That one right there is just it on its own, and this is the one over the primer. Now, I'm going to blow on it, and I'm just going to brush a little bit with my finger over the shadows. And after I brush my hand over it, this is the one without the primer, and that's the one with the primer. So you can definitely see a difference between the two, and I really think that this e.l.f. primer, it's $1. I do really think that it's quite beneficial for other things besides just glitter. For some eyeliners, I do have 2 for the waterline. This first one I have it in at the, I don't know, about the halfway mark towards the inner of my eye. It is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil, and this one's in Cottage Cheese, and it's not like the milk shade. This one, it's kind of a sheer, shimmery shade. It's got a little bit, it's not only white, but I think it has just a slight bit of a silver sheen to it. So it's really beautiful, and it's lovely as a base too, but I'm just using it this week is in my waterline. And then the other one, not only am I using this in my waterline, but I also have it up on the upper lash line today in tight line too. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Perversion, and this is super jet black. And I've found that this it does set, and it will stay in my waterline pretty well, and it doesn't wear off on the upper lash line like the Zero shade does from Urban Decay. So that is it there. I do have one other one. I just have a little bit of this one left, and this is the Urban Decay pencil in Ransom. So I just have a little teeny bit of this left. I can't sharpen it anymore, so I just have what's left up here that's sharpened. So I'm gonna use this and then call it quits on this guy. For mascaras, I have two of them. I'm gonna be putting down the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara first. Not only does it separate, it volumizes, and it does curl my lashes, and it keeps the curl throughout the day, and it does lengthen too. This is a really lovely multifunctional mascara. I'm loving it so far. And then the other one that I'm going to pair over it is the Elizabeth Mott It's So Big mascara. I love this mascara. If I can find some way to get the full size of this eventually, I totally will, because it is pretty phenomenal on its own, but it's almost out, so it's drying up a bit, so I'm just using this one over the top. It just lengthens just a teeny bit more. For my eyebrows, I'm using something a little bit different this week. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit warmer. This is the Ofra eyebrow pencil. This is the universal one. If you use a really light hand, that's it right there. If you press a little bit harder and you run over it a couple times, that is the shade that shows up. So just depending on how hard you push with the pencil and how many times you go over in your eyebrows, it'll depend on how dark it is. To go over that eyebrow pencil, since it is quite warm, this just tones it down a little bit. This is the Anastasia Tinted Brow Gel in Granite, and this is quite cool on its own. For my face items now, I have just a teeny bit left of this Benefit Stay Flawless 15-hour primer. I had to depot it from this little container here, and I put it into an empty Maybelline Color Tattoo, and I have about just enough to last me for the rest of this week. There's just a little smidgen in there, so I'm not much of a primer girl, but I've really been enjoying this primer. For face products, I do have two that I'm mixing because one is too dark and one is too light, so together they kind of work pretty, it's a pretty perfect match here. This is the Clinique Moisture Surge CC Cream, and this is in the shade Very Light, which is way too light for me. And then this one over here, this is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer. It has an SPF of 20, and this is in the shade Nude. So these two are a pretty nice combination. I have two concealers. One of them is super light. It's very brightening. I put it at the inner corner of my eyes. This is the MAC Studio Finish Concealer, and this is in the shade NW15. That is it right there. I use a concealer brush with this one to get it right up in the corner of my eye. And then the other one that I'm using for anywhere else on the face, since I'm using like tinted moisturizers this week, the coverage is not very, it's quite a thin coverage, so having a concealer to go underneath my eyes or any issues that I have on the face is really nice. This is the Radiant Creamy Concealer from NARS in the shade Light 2, which is Vanilla. So there's that guy. And then for a powder, I have the Physicians Formula Powder Palette. This one is in the shade Buff. This is really nice if you're about my shade. That is the inside of it. It has a bunch of different colored little blocks in there, but the powder on its own, it's quite sheer, so I really do like it. It's very light on the face. It doesn't get cakey, so I've been loving that one. For a bronzer and a contour, I have my little NARS duo here. This has the Orgasm blush from NARS as well as the Laguna bronzer, but I'm just using the bronzer out of this duo for this week. For my blush this week, I have two of them as usual. This first one, I like to put it towards the back of my cheek since it is a little bit darker. This is the Clinique blush in Cupid, and that is a swatch of it right there. And then towards the front of my cheeks, just for more of a gradient effect, so it fades from lighter to dark, this is the NYX blush in Angel. This is probably one of my favorite blushes. It does have a slight sheen to it, so I find that it just blends beautifully. That's Angel, and then that is Cupid right there. So they're gorgeous. I have them together on the cheeks today. And then for my highlighter, as usual, since this one's in my Finish 7 by Spring, this is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Soft and Gentle. So this one's in the old packaging, but that is it right there. I use this all over the face. I use it down the center of the face, under the eyebrows, sometimes as an eyeshadow, the high points of my cheeks. I mean, this stuff is awesome. Then I have some lip products here. So I'm thinking with this blue eye look that I've been planning to do for this coming week, I'm going to have a nude shade here. This is the L'Oreal lipstick in the shade 800, which is Fairest Nude. And that is a swatch of it right there. I have that one on the lips right now. I also have just a little bit left of this M from Michelle Phan lipstick. This one is in the shade Showstopper. This is quite the blue tone pink. That is it right there. So it's a little bit sheer. It does have a bit of a shiny finish on it, but it's so easy to wear, and I just have a little bit left, and this is in my Finish 7 by Spring, so I'm trying to finish this one up before I do my update for you guys. Once this M by Michelle Phan lipstick is finished up, I'll move on to this Too Faced lipstick. This is in the shade Marshmallow Bunny, and this one has a little bit more coral to it. It's not quite the blue toned pink as the Showstopper shade is, so that is the Too Faced Marshmallow Bunny right up there at the top. Over the top of any of those, I think this is going to look just gorgeous. This is the Essence lip gloss in the shade Nude Kiss. It does have some really fine micro shimmers in it, but they don't show up on the lips and you can't fill them on the lips. So that is it right there. That was Nude Kiss. And like I said, I think it goes over pretty much any of these lipsticks. You could even put it over Showstopper and it would just tone down some of those blue tones in that pink shade. For perfumes, I have two little mini samples that are going to be living in my purse. This first one, this is the Ralph Lauren Midnight Romance. I just have a very small amount of this one left. I love this perfume. It smells amazing. It's one of my favorite, probably top 5 favorite perfumes. This other one, this is the Marc Jacobs perfume in Daisy. And I have about a third of this one left. So they'll both be living in my purse. For my main perfume this week, it's going to be one from Hot Topic. These are their Black Heart perfumes. And I don't believe that they have specific names for each of them. They just have different colors of bottles. This one has the really dark violet bottom, and then it kind of has this gradient effect up to clear at the top. And it does have, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick them up, but it has these little black hearts in the actual perfume. I just think that's so cool. This smells like strawberries. It is definitely one of my favorite sweet perfumes. So anyway, that is it for me. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.